friends, it's Nancy. Wednesday night, happy hump day. Just want to share a few things with you today. So I had promised that I would do a flip through of this little book when it was done, and it is. So I used vintage seam binding to close it. This little book has 4 signatures in it. The spine is 1 inch across. And it dates to the 1870s. So if you saw my Instagram, or maybe you caught this in the last video, there's an inscription here to a young girl from her brother with the date of April 7, 1877 in it. So this book is 4 by 6. It's it fits nice and comfortably in your hand, and it's mainly for journaling, I would say. So I used Edith Holden pages front and back. I hope that shows up for the inside covers. And I chose this book plate because it has butterflies on it, and of course there's going to be a lot of butterflies in here because I used a lot of Edith Holden stuff. So this is the title page from the book, The Basket of Flowers, and I just backed it onto some paper that was in the original book. There was no printing date on it, but I'm just guessing that it was probably printed around the same time as James gave this to his sister Nellie. So I put this tag, I shaped it like an index tab card. I put it inside this glassine bag. This is the frontispiece, the image that was in the front of the book. And it's really bright and colorful, so it needed to be in here. Oh, and I also, of course, had to have the inscription. I did use some pages from the book, for one in every signature, and they've been reinforced with this washi tape with butterflies. So this is a fuzzy cut butterfly from an Edith Holden book. I also added tabs to the front page of every signature. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs using vintage crocheted lace. So because I meant this mainly for writing, on the book pages I have just lightly attached some coffee dyed notebook paper. This is some tea dyed paper with vintage tatting on the edge. It was a little long and I wanted to keep that length in order to make a little tuck. So I reinforced where the fold had been with some pages from the original book. I just tore that out and glued a strip on each side of the paper, stitched it, and then added a little fussy cut of a butterfly. This is an image from a book. I believe this is, I want to say it's Dr. Livingston. I backed him onto a wrapper from a book. So I had gotten a book somewhere, I don't know where, that was wrapped in this brown paper. So I just repurposed that and used it to strengthen that journaling card. So this is a page out of Edith Holden Nature Notes, I think. And it's a little smaller than the hardcover editions. This was a paperback edition, so it's slightly smaller, which is good because it fit nicely. coffee dyed paper. And here's another fold with the reinforcement and fussy cut butterflies. This is an image also from a book, and it's really interesting to me. It looks like they're having tea. I'm not sure what she's doing. Maybe knitting? Could be knitting. But the scratches in it and sort of the fuzziness, this was original to the picture. Edith Holden. Another piece of coffee dyed note paper. I did leave some, you know, that had the words. This is another illustration that was in the original book, and I've just backed it onto some buff colored cardstock. And next signature, use some music paper. This one I used notebook paper, but it has the holes at the top and it's blank. It's not lined. This is an image of a poster, or could be a cover of sheet music. Cover of sheet music, I think. This is a decorated envelope. I just cut, it was a big envelope, so I just cut the front off of it to use as pages. This is another envelope. I've cut off the top and put a notch there for a card. It's not like that handmade paper that has like leaves and twigs and stuff in it. It's just printed that way, so it's completely flat. It's completely, you know, regular regulation paper. And inside I made a journal card, so I used coffee dyed paper, fussy cut, some Edith Holden images, and I used a double layer of Edith Holden pages that has the lists of birds and plants. And then I stitched around it and added some more fussy cuts to finish it off. So this one has the name of birds. The names of birds, I should say. There's the other half of that envelope. Edith Holden, tea-dyed paper. Here's another sheet of music, and I have blank paper and a piece of lined notebook paper. And now we're into the third signature. Here's the tab. This is another, had some string in there, another envelope that I cut the front off of. This image that's in the center of the signature, this came from a vintage dictionary or a vintage encyclopedia. I think an encyclopedia. And again, it's this same envelope with a journaling spot in it. Come on, you. Again, here's another little tuck. Put a little fussy cut there. And instead of having a butterfly there, I put this fussy cut here. This is Florence Nightingale. So these were black and white pictures. I just kind of lightly went over it with a little bit of distressing to sort of give them more of a sepia tone, however you've decided to pronounce it. This is a vintage image of a bride. And again, it's on that book wrapper. I almost left her out. She was a smidge too big, but then I thought, if anybody else thinks she's too big, you can take a 1/2 inch off the side and then use a 1/4 inch corner around her to make it a little smaller. But I mean, it fits in there. The book still closes. There's another envelope. This is my 3rd envelope that I cut. And all of the envelopes were this size, like, I don't know, what is that? 8 inches across, 8.5 inches across or something. And had butterflies on them. That's why I destroyed them. I don't know who this lady is, but I like the picture. And that is the final page of the basket of flowers. So I will tie that up with a pretty bow later. The next project I'm working on, this book is called Chambers Miscellany. It's about 1 3/4 inches across. I kept some of the original pages and I've cobbled them together to make you know, pages large enough to fold into the signatures, and I chose pages that had larger illustrations. So that's as far as I've gotten there. This will be the spine that I sew my signatures to. So I'll be working on that. So there's one other thing I wanted to share with you. On the weekend, I went to one yard sale, and the only reason I went is because it advertised vintage books. I spent $1.50, and this was one of the books that I got. And the reason I got it is because it's an old notebook. I thought, well, these pages are going to be great for including in journals. Maybe that one. There was only a few pages of writing in it, so when I got home, I started reading it, and I realized that this contains the minutes of a finance committee from a church. So what was going on at this time was there was 2 congregations, and they came together and wanted to build one church, one big church. And the church was built in Grand Bend, Ontario, which is, oh gosh, it's gotta be a good 2 hours from here, I would think. So I started to feel guilty about it. Like, maybe I should, this is part of their history, maybe I should return it to them. So on Monday, I scanned all of the pages and I emailed the church, the minister and the office manager, and I said, I have purchased this book. I don't know how it got here. My purpose is to tear it apart and use it in my art, but I wanted to share this information with you. And they were just tickled. I got an email back from one lady who said the secretary So the secretary's name was Lloyd Taylor. It was actually a relative of her husband. And the church right now is doing some fundraising to refurbish some parts of the church and to become more of a multi-purpose sort of building as they approach their 100th anniversary. So that was really cool, and it relaxed all of my guilty feelings, so I don't feel bad about ripping these out and working on, well, I might even use some of these pages, who knows. Some of them are pencil, some of them are ink, but the line pages are super nice. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. Not sure what I'm going to be doing this weekend, or even what I'm going to be doing in the next 20 minutes. I might work on this journal a little. So you take care, and we will talk soon.